What's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles, welcoming you to another edition of Lyles Figure Files. Last night, I had the pleasure of appearing on Mega J Retro's live stream, where we talked about those figures going on clearance prices super early, if you need to wait on the warehouse sales from the post, or if you should just buy the figures as soon as you see them because you want to help support these figure lines that we're so invested in. It's a really good time hanging out with Jay. And I think I'm finally been motivated to do my own live streams. I know a couple of you guys have been asking, so I think I'm finally ready to take that jump, that plunge into doing my own live streams, and look forward to seeing Jay on them when I do start them up. It was also really cool seeing so many of you all who comment on my site, on my channel, actually saying what's up on the live stream. It was really fun interacting with you all as well. Now let's get into what I want to talk about today. Last year, Mattel dropped this very first WWE crowdfunding project. It's a WWE Ultimate Edition New Generation Arena set. I love this thing. I thought it was a great showpiece, centerpiece for my WWE 90s New Generation collection. So cool. And I really love it. Every time I go and shoot, I'm like, this is so great. The ropes are tight. Everything's amazing. I've got the light up screen or light up LED entrance in the background. Really well done. I was really looking forward to seeing what Mattel was going to do with its 2023 effort. And we got a little tease. Steve, aka Action Figure Attack, posted the Monday Night Nitro set and kind of like, oh, okay, I think this may be it. Because a couple months back at an all access event, the WWE Mattel team had a display set up with the Nitro set, a bunch of the WCW Monday Night luminaries there on display. And then they also had a Monday Night Raw set up with the Monday Night Raw crew. It was really fun seeing those sets, and a lot of us were going, hey, that would be really cool as a crowdfunder. What's up, Steve? You want to put this out there for us? When could we get it? How much would it be? Can we make this the next crowdfunding project for Mattel? So Steve basically said, stay tuned, more to come. We'll see if you guys are interested enough. Maybe it's something we can make into reality. So as time went on, more of us are curious, hey, what's going on with that crowdfunder? Steve finally started giving us some answers like, hey, this is going to be an expensive one. I've really been looking forward to doing this. I think you all are going to be really excited. It's a passion project. I've been looking forward to releasing it and showing it to you all, but make sure you save your money because this one's not going to be cheap. And today we got the big reveal for a lot of us. We kind of thought we knew what it was, and now it's the reality. It's the WCW Monday Night Nitro entrance set. And this thing looks amazing and spectacular, phenomenal, not AJ Styles, but phenomenal. And if I had the massive display space, if I had the money, this would be a no-brainer. This thing looks amazing. It's like if I was thinking, hey, Monday Night Nitro, action figure display setup, this is everything that I will want. It's got the WCW, the big block letters set up, arranged properly. It's got an entrance ramp so you can have your Mean Gene interview your DDP before the outsiders come out and harass him. It's got the big lighting rigs. It's got the two banners with WCW Monday Nitro on either side. It looks really great and so many cool features to it. It looks spectacular. It got a little depth to it as well, so you can have your figures come out through it and walk up to the entrance stage. Have maybe somebody else coming, sneaking up behind him, maybe Sting when he's not dropping in from the rafters, but it looks great. And it's got over 100 LED lights, which is really impressive. One thing that I thought was a nice feature on this one, it has a remote control. So now you can figure out, finagle all those different lighting setup. It has 6 in this one that you can just control with your remote. That was kind of a one thing with the New Generation ring. You had to reach over your ring to press a button to trigger all the different lighting sequences. You'd have to go like this and this for every one of them. Now you can just do it pressing a remote, which I think is such a nice upgrade and nice to see Mattel again taking notes from what they did in the past and using that to improve a project for next year. So let's talk about the size of it because it's massive. Like I said, it's 20.5 inches tall. Then it's 40 inches wide. And then they've got some depth because you need to include that in terms of how you're going to display it. So it's 31 inches with the ramp, 20 inches without it. So if you're like me, if you have your extreme spots, extreme sets, backdrop, your ring on a table, this is going to be kind of tricky. You're going to have to get another table probably or 2 tables to accommodate all this stuff. But it really looks good. Okay, so then that's all the features to the ring, or to the entrance set, which really looks great. And then this one comes with 5 figures. The last one came with 3, and this one has a lot more. So of course that jacks that price up significantly, because 3 and 5 figures is a big difference, especially now that the Ultimate Edition figures are $32.99. So let's break all of those down. For starters, 5,000 backers will unlock the entrance stage and an Ultimate Edition Rey Mysterio figure from his WCW days. And this Rey figure is pretty cool looking. It's got him in some pink and black, and he's going to come with the robe as well. And it mentioned that every figure is going to have additional hands and heads, which is something you expect now with the Ultimate Edition line. It'd be interesting to see what alternate heads they use with young Rey Mysterio Jr. for this set. So that would be cool to see what he comes with in addition to just his normal gear. All right, so the next tier goal is 7,000. And with that one, you get your WCW Diamond Dallas Page. The head sculpt on this looks really good. I think they've been trying to master DDP for a while. I think this is probably the best one. We received both head sculpts for it. One's more of a bang, and then the other is kind of a smiling one. I know there are some people that want the serious non-smiley head sculpt of DDP. Hopefully there is a third one in that to include here. It's got his vest, and of course you can swap out his hand so he can actually throw up the Rock, aka the Diamond Cutter sign. That's gonna be cool to see. And then we get our very first Ultimate Edition Big Papa Pump figure. Now this is basically when Scotty Steiner joined the NWO, so he's wearing his white singlet, the White Thunder attire basically. This one's lacking a lot of the detail that his airbrush tights did back in the day. So that's a little bit disappointing, but it's nice to see Big Papa Pump, one of the Steiner brothers, in figure form. It's really cool to see him in this attire, because this was right when he joined, where he was trying to figure out what the heck he was going to do as a heel, not the full evolution when he became Big Papa Pump, the big booty daddy. So he's got his big biceps, he's got some sunglasses, and of course different head sculpts as well. Then next up, at 11,000 backers, so this is pretty high now, is another Ultimate Warrior figure. And this one has a new head sculpt. And it's got basically him from his first appearance showing up and shocking Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff again. So it's got a nice new set of jeans, belt buckle, cowboy boots to go along with that. That's probably something that would be useful for an Ultimate Edition Barry Windham. But that looks cool on that end. And then, of course, we've got the early bird. And this one is an Ultimate Edition Nitro debut Hulk Hogan. Sadly, no Pastamania shirt, at least not yet. And this one has a new head sculpt, so that's good to see. And of course, it looks like it's a little bit slender body than the other one. Maybe, I'm hoping, because Hogan didn't look the same from 1984 when he showed up on Nitro in 95. So we'll see what that looks like and all that good stuff. Now let's break this down a little bit with the big elephant in the room. How much is this set going to cost you? It's $400. So that is a ton. That's a lot more than the previous one, the Ultimate Edition Ring, which was $250. And so, of course, you have to think, all right, well, let's do that fuzzy math again. How much are these Ultimate Edition figures? So 5 Ultimate Edition figures. You say they're now $33 basically, because these aren't going to be on clearance anytime soon. So 5 figures at $33, it's $165. So you figure that is a huge part of this cost. So that leaves you with $235 for this entrance ramp, the LED lighting, and everything else. To me, that's not the greatest value when you look at everything you got for $250 with last year's crowdfunder. You got an LED light up stage. Granted, there's no remote, but you had a light up setup. You had a ring, and this ring was the best one we've seen from Mattel. You actually put it together, you assemble the slots down on the mat so it didn't bounce, it didn't buckle, which was really good. The ring ropes were tight. They had the bottom pegs on it so it would stay in place a lot better than some of the other ones. Had 3 different ring skirts, which was really cool to add because, you want some variety in your setup and your display. That's great to have as well. Then they also added some fun little extra touches, like the box included a backdrop, so you could put crowd scenes or crowds right next to the LED light up screen. And that way you could, if you're doing figure photography, you had a ready-made background, which was really nice. And just hey, we're just going to throw this in because we're cool. So I really love that. And of course, they had 3 Ultimate Edition figures to start off with just Diesel. This Diesel wasn't the most detailed. I didn't think it had the best likeness to Kevin Nash either, but it was Diesel, new generation champ. So we got him. Then we got Doink the Clown, which was a phenomenal figure. Just to me, Doink was a selling point of the figures in this. It was like, wow, that's really cool. And the likelihood of getting evil heel Doink in another Ultimate Edition form was not really on the cards. So far, Mattel has been great in not going, hey, look, here's the other Doink the Clown version in Ultimate Edition form, guys. You've waited long enough. Here it is. So they're still holding on to that, which I really appreciate. But then to sell the thing, because it was kind of slow, it was trickling and not really making the sales that Mattel really wanted, they decided, let's throw in an early bird figure. We're going to scrap some of the advertising budget. We're going to sell this thing and make sure it gets funded. They threw in an Ultimate Edition Macho Man Randy Savage, and he set that thing ablaze. I mean, he got the thing rolling, basically on his own, got every tier funded just because of Macho Man. This wasn't just the basic Macho Man figure. It was him in his black and white attire from WrestleMania 10 and the Falls Count Anywhere match against Crush. But it also included the option to make him commentator Randy Savage. So you could put the jacket on him. You had a head sculpt with the headset on him as well, which was really cool. And it came with a commentating table. So you could put him, maybe not Bobby Heenan and Vince McMahon, but you could put 2 comfortably around the table. That was really nice. It had the skirt over the table. Really nice extra, really great bonus, and really helped sell the set for me. This one has a Hulk Hogan figure as the early bird, and when you look at the Amazon Hulk Hogan figure, granted that one has the black eye from WrestleMania 9, just kind of like, hey, just ignore this. But there's not that huge a difference. I know there's going to be some that are like, well, it's different enough. It's got a new head sculpt. It's WCW Hulk Hogan. To me, that figure exists already, and with so many Hogan figures, you can cobble together, you can swap the head and have that figure right now. And I think including him in this set doesn't really drive, it doesn't push the needle, it doesn't make me go, oh man, I gotta back this project. So I think that was a bit of a misstep, throwing him in there as your early bird, because it's like, who really cares about another Hogan? I think the better option would have been to do a Hollywood Hogan in one of his early versions from the NWO, where he doesn't even have the official NWO shirt, where it's just spray painted NWO on it with the tank top. Maybe if you could get away with doing some form of Terminator boots, that would have been awesome to add, but I think that's probably more of a choice that would have made more sense for this set. But I also want to talk about the figures in just a Mattel's actually looking out for us perspective, because so often with these HasLabs, these crowdfunding projects, they're figures that you absolutely must have. And I think initially I was like, these figures aren't great at all. Why are they doing another Rey Mysterio? Why are we getting another Ultimate Warrior? Why are we getting this version of Hulk Hogan? And then I thought, would you really want to pay $400 just for the privilege of getting the outsiders in this set? Would you want another version of Ric Flair with the bowl cut in this HasLab? Would you want another Hollywood Hogan in this set too? And we already got Goldberg, so he was one that was definitely not possible, not even necessary. Sting, of course, when you think of Nitro, is one of the big names, but right now he's still in AEW. His contract's expiring, so fingers all the way crossed. He comes back, signs a Legends contract just so I can get some more figures from Sting. But yeah, I mean, to me, I think they did figures that I was going to be pissed off if they didn't include them, because there were tons of figures that I was thinking, like, you know what, I'd have been really upset if they were behind this big paywall of this crowdfund. Booker T and his solo Harlem Heat attire, so basically where he doesn't have that little top where he's just wearing the pants. I would have loved to seen the white and red flames tights on there. That'd have been cool. The Breathe Right strip, the filling, all that good stuff. A Kidman figure would have been something. I've been like, no, I really want this Kidman figure. That's terrible. You put him in here. And I was thinking, well, maybe a Bobby Heenan commentator would have been a nice early bird, and he's rocking the Monday Nitro jacket. You could have also included Eric Bischoff here as well with the NWO jacket, shirt attire, and all that good stuff. He would have been great for different head sculpts as an Ultimate Edition, and he would have been really fun to put in the commentating table with Bobby Heenan. That would have been another option. Like, darn it, DDP with jeans as opposed to DDP in the tights we've gotten in the Elite form already. So it's like, okay, I think I'm appreciating what you guys did, because you didn't include Hall and Nash at the Outsiders, which really would have made me go, ugh. They could have made the Steiners in their Nitro attires, where they're basically wearing all black with the little weight belts around their waist. That would have been something we're like, I could have done Ted DiBiase as a manager of the NWO, or the Steiner brothers, maybe even a Nick Patrick figure. That could have been a fun random inclusion. But I think what they did here was really cool in terms of, if we don't get this thing funded, if there's no 11,000 backers to get this Ultimate Warrior, who cares? This guy, I mean, we've gotten so many Ultimate Warrior figures. The only loss here is this new head sculpt, but I kind of feel like we're going to see more Ultimate Warrior figures anyway down the road, so this one's not a huge loss. We'll see that head sculpt later. I don't need him in jeans and cowboy boots. This version of Big Papa Pump is cool, but I definitely want leader of the NWO, Big Papa Pump World Champion, more so than the singlet version, which is a nice addition to the NWO, but not essential to my collection. This DDP, I feel like I could almost cobble together this figure myself, because I've got a great DDP figure. Granted, the head sculpt's not as good as this one, but I mean, I can work around it. The Rey Mysterio, we just got this really awesome one from Legends 16, I think it was. And he's got a better, more interesting looking outfit. We already have Rey in pink already from his Halloween Havoc match against Eddie Guerrero. So this is an odd color choice. I know a lot of people are going, man, I would have loved to have seen him in the Spider-Man attire. That's probably not a good thing that would happen because, you know, Marvel. But I think there were tons of other costume choices they could have gone with color schemes, and this one was a fine, safe one because, again, I'm not going to feel like I missed out if I don't get this one. The Hulk Hogan figure, again, you don't have the same head sculpt, but much like Ultimate Warrior, we're going to see this head sculpt from Hogan down the road with some figures. We've already seen Ultimate Edition head sculpts be reused on Elite figures anyway, so it's not like, oh, this is the only opportunity to get this head sculpt. Head sculpt's tool, we're going to see it eventually, so I'm not worried on that end either. And then I was looking around because I'm always curious to see what different members of the community think about these figures, about these big crowdfunding projects. Not going to mention where I got all these names from, but you know, just check it out and kind of get a gauge on what other members of the community are saying. I'm not really excited about this, but I'll back because I want more WWE crowdfunds in the future, and feel that this fails, we won't get them. If this gets 11,000 backers, it'll be worth the price point. Now that's kind of interesting because I feel like as a collector, as collectors, it's not our responsibility to get these things funded and moved along. I think it's more on the responsibility of the company to make a product that's a reasonable price point, that's so can't miss that we have to buy it. I feel like we saw that with McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Batmobile. People love the price point. They bought it so fast it sold out as soon as it was listed. And I don't think we're going to see this reach 11,000 backers tomorrow because of the price point, but I don't think it's necessarily a deal of we have to support this, otherwise we won't get this other thing down the road. I feel like that was a tactic that we saw so often with the DC Multiverse line when Mattel was covering it, when Scott Knightlett was working on it, where he was just kind of like, hey guys, you really want this figure? Well, you're going to have to back this DC Crisis subscription line that we've got going. And otherwise, you're never going to get these figures you want. I never got the Legion of Superheroes I wanted. The JLI Fire and Ice that I did get were terrible. Captain Marvel Jr. was also terrible. The Rocket Red figure I got was the worst version that I could possibly ask for that figure. And there were so many things where I just felt like, you guys are really stringing us along here, and you're not delivering the last bit of figures that we really need on this line, like a Kyle Rayner Green Lantern figure, for example. So I don't necessarily think that I have to support this because I want to see something else down the road. I feel like you should really want to support these things. You should want this product, not just because I need to back this so next time I can get something I want. I don't think that's sending the right message to the companies either. It just means anything you send out there, we're going to buy it because hopefully eventually you'll get to the figure or vehicle or playset that I do want. And again, I'm kind of back and forth with in terms of, hey, is this a terrible value? It's a great deal. But I think Mattel still looks out for us even with this kind of project, because you can pay for this one using PayPal. And the benefit of that is you can use PayPal's feature, pay as you go, or I think that's the name of it. Anyway, you can pay in 4 installments if it's under $100. This is clearly over, so you can pay monthly for it. Now, you are going to have to pay some interest or whatever to do that, but I think if you don't take too long, it'll be worth it. Or maybe it'll be like $450. But I think this is a way, if you really wanted it and don't have $400 just to drop right now, I think that'll work out. And I really think that's a model that other companies should use as well for their crowdfunding projects, because maybe not every collector has $400 to just throw down just like that. Now, the deal is for this Ultimate Edition Hulk Hogan WCW debut, you've got to get that early bird window fulfilled. That means it needs 5,000 backers by April 7th. That's not a lot of time. It's March 27th. This thing goes up Wednesday, March 29th. So not a lot of time to get this thing funded. And I feel like if the Hulk Hogan figure doesn't get back, will people still be interested, still be invested? Because then that means let me see, what did I do here? So I said 33 figures, $33 Ultimate Edition figures. 5 is 165. So then if I take Hogan out, 165, that means they're $41.25 per figure at that rate. That's not good. So when one figure goes off from it, the value of those other figures definitely decreases and you're paying a lot more for them. So that's not a good deal. And 11,000 backers to get that Ultimate Warrior, that's a lot of figures, or a lot of backers as well. The Ultimate Edition New Generation ring got 8,495 backers. Its target was also 5,000 backers. But again, that $250 price point was a lot easier for customers, collectors to go, okay, I'll go ahead and back it. Asking for asking for $400 for this one seems like a bit of a stretch to still get that same amount. I mean, if you just get 8,000 backers for this one without the cool lore of a great can't miss early bird like that Macho Man figure, you'd be stuck just with the DDP, the Rey Mysterio, and depending on how long it takes to get that window closed, the Hulk Hogan figure. So you'd still miss out on Scott Steiner, Big Papa Pump, and Ultimate Warrior. So I don't know. I think this is a risky one for Mattel, because last year was 8,495 backers. They want 11,000 to fulfill the whole thing, so we get everything. The figures are clearly included in the price in this thing, because I don't see the set being $235 worth. So it's kind of like, boy, that's a lot to ask. And I think there's another component to this that probably would have helped sell a little bit more. If there was any way that you could have gotten like a Nitro ring skirt, or just some parts that you can swap out, maybe that Attitude Era ring, and then make a Nitro ring, because you got an entrance set for Nitro, but you don't have a Nitro ring. You don't have an option to even have a Nitro ring unless you've done one of those third-party sets that have created the full Nitro Arena setup or ring setup. So this is kind of weird, because it's asking you as a consumer to back something that hasn't happened for a ring that you're never going to get, or that you don't have right now unless you have a third-party setup. But you don't have the official Mattel version of it. I feel like maybe ring skirts for Nitro would have helped a lot, and just put on really easily for your new generation or your Attitude Era ring. I think that would have gone a long way to making this a can't miss project for Mattel. So we'll see where this goes. I can't see me backing this one because of the cost, because of the space, and because the figures just aren't that appealing to me. I mean, would I like an Ultimate Edition DDP? Yeah. Would I like Ultimate Edition Big Papa Pump? Of course. Rey Mysterio? Probably, especially old school classic Rey. But the color scheme isn't quite not quite doing it for me. So I think Mattel kind of knew what they were doing with these choices. We don't have outsiders. We don't have Booker T. We don't have Eric Bischoff in this thing. We have figures that have had several figures. We know we're going to see the Steiner brothers in so many forms and so many figures down the road. Missing out on white singlet version of Big Papa Pump is not necessarily a bad thing, and this still leaves Mattel with the option to do the Jeans DDP as a solo release later on down the road, maybe the Target exclusive WWE Legends line. So we'll see. But that's all I got to say on this right now. I'm sure as these tiers, as the early bird keeps rolling, I'll have a lot more thoughts. For now, that's it for me. Let me know what you think on this initial reveal of this. Are you going to back this project when it goes up for sale on Wednesday? Are you really excited about these figure options? Are you kind of like, I don't even have the space for it, but I would love it. So let me know what you think. As always, thank you so much for watching. This episode of Loud's Figure Files has been filed.